The phone buzzed at 11:42 p.m. I had been scrolling half-heartedly through news articles, the house quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. The screen glowed and her name appeared. "I'm at a girls' night out. Don't wait for me," the message read. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I leaned back in my chair and let the words sit. There was no anger, no dramatic flare of emotion, only a slow, simmering recognition. This was not unusual. This pattern, these small dismissals and absences, had been building for months, maybe even years. I thought about all the nights I waited for her to come home, the countless times I adjusted my plans to accommodate hers, the conversations that never really happened because she was too tired or distracted or indifferent. The small erosions of trust and connection stacked quietly, imperceptibly, until they became a barrier I could no longer ignore. Rather than typing an angry reply or questioning her choices, I opened the camera on my phone and took a photo of the empty living room. The couch, the table, the soft glow of the lamp. Mundane details, but symbolic of the space I had been occupying alone for some time. I attached a message. "No one is waiting for you anymore." I sent it and set the phone down. The silence that followed was heavy, almost tangible, but it wasn't empty. It was filled with the weight of acknowledgement, of an unspoken boundary finally being drawn. I wasn't trying to punish her or make her feel guilty. I was signaling, simply and firmly, that I had reached the limit of quiet tolerance. 10 minutes passed. My coffee had gone cold. The refrigerator's hum had become background noise, and the house felt larger, almost foreign. Then her reply came. It wasn't the casual tone of earlier messages. There was hesitation, confusion, maybe even the first hint of worry. She hadn't expected this response, this calm assertion of boundary. The familiar power dynamic, the one where I adapted and waited while she acted, freely, had shifted, and she could feel it, even in 10 words. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The moment itself carried the message. By stepping outside the cycle of emotional neglect, I had created space for recognition, for accountability, for clarity. Her pattern no longer dictated my behavior. I walked slowly to the window and looked out at the street. Dim streetlights cast amber pools on the pavement. The quiet of the night wrapped around me, but it felt different now. Less like emptiness, more like calm resolve. I had done nothing dramatic. No shouting, no ultimatums. Just a simple act that acknowledged my own worth and refused to be erased. I reflected on how often relationships crumble quietly, long before anyone admits it aloud. It isn't always a dramatic argument or a betrayal that ends them. Sometimes it's months of unnoticed absences, dismissals, and silent erosion. The moment she sent that text, it should have been a wake-up call, but years of routine had dulled the edges. My response brought the reality into sharp focus. The house felt simultaneously familiar and strange. Familiar because this was where our lives had intersected. Strange because it had become clear that the intersection was now temporary, contingent on my own choice rather than her habitual disregard. I could stay caught in the old rhythm, pretending everything was fine, or I could step outside and reclaim my own space, my own dignity. I chose the latter. I sat down again, breathing slowly. The phone lay beside me, quiet, the sent message glowing faintly on the screen. I thought about the quiet power of restraint, of asserting a boundary without aggression. I thought about how rarely someone expects calm, clarity to interrupt the flow of neglect, and how effective it can be. Minutes later, I felt a subtle shift, not in her necessarily, but in me. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't pleading or explaining. I had reclaimed my emotional autonomy. That alone was victory, uncelebrated but real. I made myself a cup of tea, letting the warmth seep in as I reflected on the evening. This night, like so many others, could have ended in frustration, argument, or tears. Instead, it ended with recognition. Recognition of patterns, recognition of limits, recognition of self. And in that, there was an unspoken that could not be ignored. The quiet erosion of trust may have gone unnoticed for a long time, but it could no longer dictate my actions. I looked around the living room, at the empty couch and the soft lamplight, and realized that boundaries do not have to be dramatic to matter. Sometimes the smallest gestures, delivered with calm precision, carry the most weight. I didn't need to send another message. I didn't need her acknowledgement to feel complete. For the first time in months, I felt present in my own life, aware of my own worth, and free from the habitual cycle of neglect. The house, once heavy with absence and frustration, now felt lighter, and I understood, finally, that quiet strength, measured, controlled, deliberate, is far more powerful than any dramatic confrontation could ever be.